Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl. Everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood because she always wore a red hood. It was given to her by her grandmother, who loved the little girl very much. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said, "Here, take this basket to your grandmother. It's got bread, butter, cake, and berries in it. She's feeling sick. I hope this will make her feel better. But remember, don't talk to strangers. Don't leave the path and walk straight to your grandma's house." Her grandmother lived in the woods outside the village. So Little Red Riding Hood set off. The girl had just entered the woods when a wolf came out of the trees. She wasn't scared because she didn't know wolves are dangerous. "Good day, Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf greeted her. "Good day, Mr. Wolf," the girl replied. "Where are you going?" he asked. "I'm going to visit my grandmother because she isn't feeling very well." "What do you have in that basket?" "I have some bread, butter, cake, and berries for my grandma." "Excellent. And where does your grandmother live?" She explained him exactly where her grandma lived. They started walking together. Then the wolf spoke again. "What lovely flowers! Why don't you pick some for your grandma?" The girl looked around and saw all those beautiful flowers. She thought that her grandmother would be delighted to have some fresh flowers, and despite her mother's advice, she left the path. While she went deeper into the woods to pick flowers, the wolf went straight to her grandmother's house. He knocked on the door and heard a voice inside. "Who is it?" "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought you bread, butter, cake, and berries," the wolf said in a disguised voice. "How lovely! Give the door a big push and come in." "I don't have the strength to come and open it." The wolf opened the door and entered the house. He went to the old woman's bed, attacked her, and ate her whole. Then he put her clothes on and slipped into the bed. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at her grandmother's house, she noticed that the door was open. She went in and walked straight into the bedroom. Usually, she felt very happy at her grandma's, but that day, something felt different. "Good morning," she said, but no one replied. Her grandmother looked strange. "Oh, Grandma, what big ears you have!" "All the better to hear you with," the wolf replied in a fake voice. "Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have!" "All the better to see you with." "Oh, Grandma, what big hands you have!" "All the better to grab you with." "Oh, Grandma, what a big mouth you have!" "All the better to eat you with." The wolf roared, jumped off the bed, attacked her, and ate the poor girl whole. With his stomach full, the wolf got back into Grandma's bed and fell asleep, snoring loudly. A hunter who was passing by the house heard him and thought it was very strange for the old woman to snore so loudly? He looked inside and saw that it was the wolf who was snoring. The hunter had been looking for the wolf for a long time. At last he had found him. The hunter lifted his gun and was just about to shoot when he had a thought. Maybe the old woman was still alive inside his belly. So the man took a pair of scissors and cut open his belly. He saw a red hood popping out, and then suddenly Little Red Riding Hood jumped out. The hunter cut a bit more, and the grandmother came out too. Little Red Riding Hood gathered some stones and they filled the wolf's belly with them. When he woke up, he was scared and tried to run away. But the stones were so heavy that he fell down. The hunter immediately took his gun and shot the wolf. Finally, the cunning wolf was dead. The three celebrated by eating some cake. They were happy because the wolf was not going to be a danger anymore. Little Red Riding Hood decided never to leave the path again and to listen more carefully to what her mother told her. The magic carpet. Long time ago, there was a kingdom called Himnagar, in which lived King Bhimsen and Queen Bhanumati. But the king and the queen were very sad as they had no children. One day, the queen was blessed with a beautiful baby girl. She was so beautiful that they named her Roopmati. King Bhimsen invited the entire kingdom for a feast. Everyone was happy and blessing the beautiful princess. Suddenly, a fairy appeared. She was very angry because the king did not invite her. The fairy cursed Roopmati. She said, "Hey king, nobody will marry your daughter. She will be alone and unhappy." The queen said, Please show some mercy. Don't punish my innocent child for our mistake." "Okay, the one who will accomplish my 3 challenges will be able to marry your daughter. But remember, if someone tries to marry her without accomplishing my challenges, that person will die then and there." The 3 challenges are: 1. To set apart 5 lakh sesame seeds from rice in 5 hours. 2. To fight and kill a huge monster. 3. To play a drum which is set on the highest mountain. Saying all this, the fairy disappeared. Years passed. Roopmati turned into a beautiful young princess. The king and the queen were worried about her marriage, as none of the prince could complete fairy's 3 challenges. Far, far away, there was another kingdom called Mandu. It was ruled by Prince Shaurya. He was brave and fearless. He was also kind and loving. The people of Mandu loved and admired their prince. When Prince Shaurya heard about the beautiful princess and the 3 challenges, he immediately decided to accomplish them. With the blessings of his parents, Prince Shaurya left his palace. After passing through a forest, he got tired and decided to rest for a while under a tree. After some time, he woke up and decided to eat some food. So he took out the food from his bag. He noticed that there were ants all over his food. He realized that the ants had captured all his food. Prince Shaurya kept the entire food down and offered it to the ants. The queen ant said, "Thank you, Prince. Thank you so much for being kind and helpful. One day we will return your favor. When you need our help, just call us. We all will come and help you." The prince mounted on his horse and started traveling. A little ahead, he saw a tiger crying in pain. A thorn was stuck in his paw. Without worrying about his life, Prince Shaurya removed the thorn and helped the tiger. "Thank you for being so kind and helpful. I promise, one day I will return your favor. If you ever need my help, just call me and I will be there." The prince started to travel further. On the way, he saw an old man sitting under a tree. He was very thirsty. The prince offered him water. "Thank you for being so kind and helpful. Since you offered me water, I would like to gift you this magic carpet. This carpet can fly." Prince Shaurya took the carpet along with him and resumed his journey. After some time, he reached the kingdom of Himnagar. He saw the beautiful Princess Roopmati standing in the balcony. Even Roopmati saw Prince Shaurya. They looked at each other and fell in love at the first sight. The prince went to the king and said, "Hey Majesty, I am Prince Shaurya from Mandu. I will fulfill the 3 challenges and marry your daughter." The king was happy as well as worried. The same night, Prince entered a room to complete the first challenge. He called the Ant Queen for help. The Ant Queen came along with her army of ants and separated 5 lakh sesame seeds from rice within just 5 hours. Thus, the first challenge was completed. Next day, the prince decided to complete the second challenge. A fight between the prince and a deadly monster was arranged. Prince Shaurya called the tiger for help. Together, they killed the monster. Thus, the second challenge was completed. Next day, the prince decided to complete the third challenge. He sat on his magic carpet and flew high up in the sky. After flying for some time, he reached the mountain where the drum was kept. He started beating the drum, and thus the third challenge was completed. When Prince Shaurya flew back down on his magic carpet, all the people were cheering for him. The king said, "I am honored to give you my daughter's hand in marriage." Prince Shaurya and Princess Roopmati were overjoyed. All the people were very happy. Prince Shaurya married Princess Roopmati, and even the fairy blessed the couple. They lived happily ever after. The Emperor's New Clothes. Many years ago, there was an emperor who was very fond of new clothes. He had different clothes for for each hour of the day. He spent all his time and money on new clothes. He did not bother about his soldiers, nor did he care for the people of his kingdom. He just waited for opportunities to show off his new clothes. Time passed merrily in the large town which was his capital. Strangers arrived every day at the court. One day, two thieves, calling themselves tailors, made their appearance. They told everyone that they knew how to weave a cloth which was made of the most beautiful colors and elaborate patterns. The clothes made from this cloth will have a magical property of remaining invisible to everyone who was unfit for the office he held or who was extraordinarily simple in character. These must indeed be splendid clothes, thought the emperor. If I have such a suit, I will be able to find out which men in my kingdom are unfit for their office. I will also be able to distinguish the wise from the foolish. This invisible suit should be made for me immediately. He ordered large sums of money to be given to both the tailors so that they can start their work immediately. So the two tailors set up two looms. They acted as if they were working very hard. But in reality, they did nothing at all. They asked for the most delicate silk and the purest gold thread. They put both into their own bags and then continued their pretended work at the empty looms until late at night. I want to know how the tailors are getting on with my cloth, said the emperor to himself. But he was afraid to go and see himself when he remembered that a simpleton or one unfit for his office would be unable to see the cloth. I will send my old faithful minister to check, thought the emperor. He will be best able to see how the cloth looks, for he is a man of sense, and no one can be more suitable for his office than he is. So the old faithful minister went into the room where the thieves were on their empty looms. He was surprised. What can be the meaning of this? He thought. I cannot see any cloth here. However, he did not express his thoughts aloud. The two thieves requested him to come near their looms. Then they asked him whether the design pleased him and whether the colors were very beautiful. The poor old minister looked and looked, but he could not discover anything on their looms because there was nothing there. Is it possible that I am a simpleton? No one must know it now if I am so. Can it be that I am unfit for my office? No, I will never confess that I could not see the cloth. Well, Sir Minister, you did not tell us whether the cloth pleases you. Oh, it's excellent. This pattern, the color, yes. I will tell the emperor how beautiful they are. The thieves asked for more silk and gold, saying that it was necessary to complete what they had begun. However, they again put everything in their own bags and continued to work at their empty looms. The emperor now sent another officer of his court to see how the men were getting on and to ascertain whether the cloth would soon be ready. It was just the same with this gentleman as it was with the minister. He looked at the looms but could not see anything at all but the empty frames. The thieves said, "Does this appear as beautiful to you as it did to the minister? It must be that I am not fit for my office. This is very odd. However, No one should know about it. He praised the stuff he could not see and said that he was delighted with both the colors and patterns. He went back to the emperor and said, "The cloth which the weavers are preparing is magnificent." The whole city was talking of the splendid cloth which the emperor had ordered to be woven at his own expense. And now the emperor himself wished to see the costly cloth while it was still in the loom. He went to the loom accompanied by a few officers of the court, among whom were the two honest men who had already admired the cloth. As soon as the thieves came to know about the emperor's approach, they went on working more diligently than ever. Although they still did not pass a single thread through the looms. "Isn't the cloth magnificent?" said the two officers. "What is happening? I can see nothing here. Am I a simpleton? Or am I unfit to be an emperor? That would be the worst thing that could happen." The emperor said, "Oh, the cloth is beautiful. The colors, the patterns are magnificent." The thieves said, "Oh, Majesty, you should stitch a new suit from the splendid material for the approaching procession." "Magnificent, charming, excellent," resounded on all sides. The emperor was happy and he ordered them to make a new suit from this new cloth. The thieves decided to work the whole night before the day on which the procession was to take place. They pretended to work very hard. At last they said, "The emperor's new clothes are ready." Now the emperor came back to the tailors. One of them raised his arms as if he is holding something. He said, "Here are your trousers, Majesty. Here is the scarf, and this is the mantle." The whole suit is as light as a cobweb. One might think that he has nothing on at all when dressed in it. But this is one of the quality of this delicate cloth. If your Majesty can take off the clothes, we will fit on the new suit. The emperor undressed himself. The thieves pretended to dress the emperor in his new suit. How splendid His Majesty looks in his new clothes, and how well they fit! Everyone cried out, "What a design! What colors! These are indeed royal clothes." "I am ready," said the emperor. "Do my new clothes fit well?" he asked, looking at himself in the mirror. Now, the emperor began the procession through the streets of his capital. All the people standing by, "Oh, how beautiful are our emperor's new clothes!" In reality, no one would admit that they did not see any clothes at all. They feared that they will be declared unfit for their work and also called simpleton. As the emperor walked further, a small boy looked at him in surprise and said, "But the emperor is not wearing anything at all." "Listen to the voice of innocence," said his father. What the child had said was whispered from one to another. "But he has nothing at all on," at last cried out all the people. The emperor was ashamed, as he knew that the people were right. But he thought the procession must go on. He kept walking. In the meantime, the two thieves had already left the kingdom with all the valuables. The Foolish Barber. Once upon a time, in a village, there lived a cloth merchant whose name was Shambhu. He had a beautiful wife whose name was Uma. They were very rich and they stayed in a big and beautiful house. Shambhu was a kind hearted man. His wife Uma was a clever lady. Shambhu and Uma always invited people to their house and treated them with love and kindness. They offered gifts and a variety of food to their guests. One day, Shambhu said to Uma, "We have so many well wishers and friends. Tomorrow, if something goes wrong, they will definitely help us." Uma said, "Shambhu, it is not what you think. They are being nice to us because we give them food and gifts without any expectations. None of them will stand for us if we are in trouble." Shambhu said, "Oh, don't think like that. They are good people." Uma knew that Shambhu will not believe her. One day, there was a huge fire at Shambhu's warehouse. He lost everything in fire. Shambhu now had to pay lots of money to his suppliers. He went to all his friends for help, but everybody made some excuses and refused to help. They also started ignoring Shambhu. Uma asked, "What happened? Is anyone ready to help us?" "No, all my friends are in some kind of trouble. They are not able to help us." Uma knew that his friends are only making excuses. But she also knew that her husband would not believe it. Shambhu had to sell everything he had, including the beautiful big house, to cover his losses. He paid back all his debts. Shambhu was now a poor man. He and Uma lived in a small house. Shambhu worked as a laborer in someone's farm to earn money. Uma also started working as a cook at people's house to help her husband. They both had to work very hard. Shambhu became very sad. He understood that Uma was right about the people. They only came to us to collect gifts and to eat good food. I should have listened to you, Uma. I am very sorry. I have nothing left with me. I can't offer you a good life anymore." But Uma said, "I am happy to be with you. Forget about selfish people. We don't want them. You don't worry. Very soon our bad days will pass." But Shambhu was very upset. "I have been foolish all my life, and my poor wife has to suffer because of my foolishness. I have nothing left to support my family. What should I do? It's all my fault." One day, when Shambhu was sleeping, he heard a voice. "Hey Shambhu, wake up. Who are you? And what is happening?" "I am a sadhu, and I am here to help you. What happened to you was just a bad phase. Eventually, it will pass away." "But how will you help me?" "Tomorrow morning, I will come at your door. When I enter your home, just touch the back of my head with a stick. I will then turn into gold coins. All your problems will be solved." But remember, don't hit any other sadhu or you will fall into big trouble. Next morning, when Shambhu woke up from his sleep, he started thinking about the strange dream. From his window, he saw some sadhus passing by his house. They don't look like sadhus from my dream. Suddenly, he heard someone knocking at his door. He opened the door and saw a barber. The barber said, "You had called me for your haircut?" As Shambhu sat down to get a haircut, there was another knock at the door. Uma opened the door and said, "There is a sadhu at the door." "A sadhu? Go and get me a stick." "A stick? I don't have time to explain. Get it quickly." Without letting the barber finish his haircut, Shambhu ran towards the sadhu with the stick. He then touched the stick on the back of the sadhu's head. And suddenly, the sadhu turned into a pile of gold coins. "So much gold! We are not poor anymore." Shambhu was overjoyed. He completely forgot about the barber who was still in his house. The barber saw everything and thought, "It's an easy way to earn money." The next day, the barber went to the place where the sadhu stayed and invited them home. The sadhus were surprised, but they took pity on the barber and accepted his invitation. The sadhus followed the barber to his house. As soon as they entered the house, the barber locked the door and started to hit them with a stick. The sadhus started calling for help. People heard their cries and broke the door to the barber's house and saved the sadhus. People were very angry on the barber's actions. They started to hit him. The barber was punished for what he had done. Shambhu and Uma were watching everything. They felt bad for the foolish barber. He acted without understanding the whole truth. He only saw that the sadhu turned into gold with the touch of the stick. But he didn't know about Shambhu's dream. Because of his foolishness, the barber was thrown out of the village. The Salty Sea. Long ago, in ancient times, the ocean and the sea were full of fresh and sweet water. But even they did not know that their destiny was about to change. In the same era in India, there lived an old man who had two sons. The younger one, Ram, was obedient, honest, and hardworking, while the elder one, Raghunath, was lazy and greedy. One day, the old man became very ill. Before taking his last breath, he told both of his sons and their wives that they should live together in unity and never be jealous of each other. He also said they should share the piece of land he owned. But after the old man died, the elder brother and his wife grabbed all the land and gave only a small portion of land to his younger brother. And they also threw him out of the house. The younger brother quietly accepted his fate and along with his wife started living in a small house. Whatever he could grow on the small piece of land, he used to sell it and earn a living. His wife was good in pot making. She would make nice pots and sell them for a good price. In the meantime, his elder brother, by tricky, gained a lot of money and doubled the size of their old house, but never gave anything to his younger brother. One day, a sadhu came knocking at the elder brother's door. But he was refused any alms or food. The elder brother abused the sadhu and ordered him to go away. The sadhu quietly went to the younger brother's house and asked for some food. Ram was polite to the sadhu. He offered him some food. The sadhu ate some food and took rest in their house. After taking rest for some time, when he was about to leave, he gave Ram a chakki. He told Ram it was a magical chakki. Whenever he wanted anything, he should say, "Chakki bhai chakki, chal." It will start rotating and then ask whatever they wanted. By magical powers, the chakki will produce it on the spot. And when they wanted to stop the chakki, they should say, "Chakki bhai chakki, ruk," and it would stop. Saying all this, the sadhu blessed them and went away. Ram and his wife wanted to check the magic. They did as the sadhu said and asked for some food. They were served with one of the most tastiest food they could ever have. Then Ram asked for some money and he was granted. In a few days, Ram built a beautiful house and started living a good and simple life. He also started helping the poor and the needy. One day, his elder brother Raghunath's wife spied on Ram. She saw Ram asking the chakki to give him some gold jewelry. Ram wanted to give the jewelry to a poor man whose daughter was about to get married. She quickly went and told all this to her husband. Raghunath was shocked and did not believe his wife. But later in the evening, he saw Ram and his wife going out with a bag full of new clothes and jewelry. When they left, he and his wife broke open Ram's door and stole all his money. They even took the chakki with them. They packed their bags and left their house thinking that they were now going to be rich for their whole life. They boarded a ship and set sail to a foreign land. On their way, when they were having lunch, Raghunath told his wife to get some salt for the salad. She said she did not bring any salt with her. So, they decided to ask the chakki for salt. Raghunath's wife went to the chakki and said, "Chakki bhai chakki, chal. Chakki bhai chakki, namak." And soon there was salt. She took some salt and gave it to her husband. They enjoyed their food. After some time, she saw that the whole floor near the chakki was full of salt. She went there and tried to stop the chakki, but could not. Raghunath asked her what happened. She told him that she only saw how to start the chakki. In her haste, she did not see how to stop it. In the meantime, the chakki went on producing salt after salt. Soon their ship was full of salt. Their ship started sinking due to the weight of the salt that was being constantly produced by the chakki. After some time, the ship sank and so did the chakki. But the chakki went on spinning. And it is still spinning and producing salt and making our seas and oceans' water salty. So if any one of you finds the chakki when out in the sea, don't forget to say, "Chakki bhai chakki ruk."